Welcome to the Bernie Elementary School Garden. This is one of my service learning sites. It is a little different than everyone else's because I have 6 different sites that I actually visit. So far, I've actually only visited 4 of them. I am part of the Garden Angels, which is part of the Beach Cities Health District organization. We travel between elementary schools and work on their gardens. We do a lot of upkeep and transplanting to make the gardens beautiful. But last week, I was involved with my first harvest. We harvested at least 60 to 70 cucumbers, a big container of green beans, and probably 30 to 40 pints of cherry tomatoes. We donated this all to the food bank. This is my introduction, and as such, I thought I would start here at Bernie Elementary, which is my kids' school, because this is actually where I started my garden process. I was working in this garden for almost 8 years as a garden docent, teaching kids about planting, recycling, and harvesting. This is where I had my first inkling of meaningful occupations, at least in regards to OT. This is a harvest from Hermosa View. Here we have a harvest from Jefferson Elementary School. Mostly we have cucumbers, tomatoes, and green beans. All of this that we have here has been donated to the food pantry. As you can see, it's a pretty garden. A nice fringe of trees around the edges. There are strawberries growing in there and also grapes growing up the trellises. It was about 4 years ago that another dad and I were asked to build a rock pathway from the yard to the front gate. We dug out our path and over time found the right balance of stones to make the path. After we were done, I honestly didn't think much of it, though I was proud of our work. It was later, during the school year, that I noticed the AM kindergartners were now being released to their parents through the garden instead of on the street, on the side of the school. All those kindergartners were now walking down our path. This gave me a profound sense of satisfaction, a meaningful experience, you could say. This rock path started me down another path, and that has led me to the Garden Angels.
We'll have some.
Hello everyone. This is Michelle. She is my boss here at the Garden Angels. We're picking beans right now. So Michelle, how long have you been working with the Garden Angels?
I've been working with the Garden Angels for 5 years.
Pretty long time. Have you seen a lot of differences between since you got here?
Between the Garden Angels or the gardens?
The gardens and the Garden Angels.
Yes, the Garden Angels have grown in number. When I started, we had about 8, and now we've got about, actually we probably had 8 that were on our roster, but we had about 4 or 5 showing up. And the others we never saw, and now we've got almost 20 on the roster, and we have about 12 that we see on a regular basis, and then some of the others come occasionally. We also have changed. When I started, it was only Wednesdays that we would garden together in the school gardens, and now we garden Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in the school gardens.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've seen a change in that way with the Garden Angel program.
Nice, nice. So we have a big project coming up on the 22nd of August. Do you want to describe that a little bit?
We do. It's called the Community Volunteer Day, and Beach Cities Health District has opened up all the school gardens to the community and allowed for the school families and the community in general, and a lot of corporations will sign up together. Like, for example, we'll have like a realty company sign up with all their employees, and they'll all come together, and it'll be like a type of a work-related, they'll use it as a work-related volunteer day. We have a lot of different corporations that do that. And then just people in general that want to volunteer from the community can sign up, and they come to all 9 school gardens that are in our program, and they harvest everything that's fresh and ready to harvest, and they pack it up and they take it to a local food bank donation site to feed the needy.
Sounds like a lot of fun. I'm sure I will be there. Well, thanks very much, Michelle, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
What I'm doing now is I'm digging for worms. You need to get a shot of these worms. Okay.
Let's do it.
There's beautiful worms right there. Now.
Oh, look at all of them.
Yeah. They don't photograph very well. But
Yeah.
You had a chance to meet Michelle, but sadly, Patty was not here today. She is the director. She has been with the Garden Docents for 8 or 9 years. There's one lady who I think is the longest who's been here for 12 years. I will give 2 interesting anecdotes that Patty told me regarding social justice and herself. The first was one time we were watching a kid ride a bike around the Jefferson Elementary playground. Patty mentioned to me that she had never gotten a chance to really learn how to ride a bike. She said, "Well, Keith, I grew up on a farm, and we were poor. We only had one ratty bicycle, and my 2 older siblings got to ride the bike, and I didn't get much of a chance. So I never really learned how to do it. There was work to do every day. Kind of sad to not be able to learn how to ride a bike." Another time, she was describing after she moved to Los Angeles. She was talking to another lady in her late 60s, but I was right there working with them. She said, "I tried to get a job in the entertainment industry, but of course women weren't hired for that sort of thing back then. So I got a job working for an insurance company. I have to say at that point my occupational therapist's ears perked up. It was as much the statement about how women weren't hired back then, but also the way the other woman just shook her head in kind of a resigned acceptance, but also irritation. The matter-of-fact way she described this discrimination was stunning. In a turnaround, Michelle had a very nice story about positive side of social justice and meaningful occupations that she told me. She was a stay-at-home mom that wanted to get involved in her kids' school, and she chose the garden. She would volunteer every week and literally worked by herself in that garden for almost a decade. She said she read book after book on gardening, including anything from entomology to citrus trees, and especially gardening in Los Angeles. There was about anything she could do in the garden. Nobody really helped her, but she kept at it and transformed it into her own vision. She was just thinking about going back to school when she got a call from BCHD asking her if she wanted to start a garden program for the elementary schools. Apparently, the administration at her school had noticed her out in their garden, year after year, toiling, and contacted BHD, and they offered her this job. It's quite a remarkable coincidence, if you think about it. Right when she was thinking about doing something else, she got a job doing something that she loves. She's there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then during the school year, she coordinates with all the garden docents at all the other elementary schools. Nicely done, I think. She really loves her job. There's one thing I have learned from working with the Garden Angels, and that there is a disconnect between the seniors and the general population. These folks have wonderful stories about the lives they've lived, but nobody gets a chance to hear them. They have a fountain of information they could pass on to younger generations that will mostly not get heard. Patty grew up in a difficult situation, but typical of the time, sacrificing for the family some of her childhood for a better life. Her daughter is a true success story, a doctor now and married to a doctor that works at Harvard University. Her family has come a long way from the old farm. The arc of social justice has certainly worked in her favor, and I am honored to be able to listen and work with such a fine group of individuals. I have enjoyed my time in the garden. I have a much better appreciation for the meaningful activities and the level of commitment the Garden Angels put into the community. They're an interesting group and have helped me to appreciate the small occupations that make up the mosaic of a larger life. Thank you very much.